What's going on? It's your boy KC Fowler, one half of the Fowlers podcast, host of the Melanin Warriors podcast. I hope y'all enjoyed part one and part two of the Melanin Warrior Toussaint Louverture just as much as I have researching it and bringing it to light for you guys. So we're going to go ahead into the finale of the Melanin Warrior, the father of Haiti, Toussaint Louverture. So he made an agreement with the United States, and in 1798, the U.S. suspended trade with France because of the tensions between the two governments over privateering. Now, basically, what a privateer is, for those of y'all who don't know, is simply a privatized, like mercenary type of warship, and in times of war, they help out with fights and everything like that. So they entered what was called a quasi-war. However, trade with St. Domingue in the U.S. was still favorable, so St. Louverture sent Joseph Bonnell to negotiate with John Adams' administration. The terms of the treaty were constantly rejected, suggestions from both the French and the U.S. that he should declare independence. But he was content to have the colony still French, at least in name only. You know what I'm saying? He just wanted to be behind the scenes, didn't really want, you know what I'm saying, to be in the spotlight like he is. 1799, tensions between Louverture and his rival Regardi, that was favored by the commissioner that we spoke of on part two, it came to a climax. Louverture accused Regardi of an assassination attempt on himself, and Regardi accused Louverture for working with the British to restore slavery, causing a rift between the two melanin people, which were the blacks and the mulattoes. Regardi sent troops to seize the border towns of Petit Govet and Grand Govet in June of 1799. This led to a civil war, and it came to be known as the War of Knives. uh, War of Knives, that's heavy. That lasted over a year and ended with the defeat of Regarde, and he fled to Guadalupe. Louverture delegated most of his campaign to his lieutenant, Jean-Jacques de Salanis, who became infamous for killing mulattoes captives, and he killed slaves. I mean, his name was known throughout the island being very brutal and unforgiving. During the Civil War is when Napoleon Bonaparte gained his power over France and subjected French colonies to special laws. One such law was forbidding Louverture from attacking the Spanish island of Santo Domingo, which would give him a powerful defensive position. But Louverture planned on proceeding with this invasion anyway. He didn't care what he was talking about for real. So he coerced a man named Rume or Raume, whichever way you pronounce it, to supply the necessary positions to begin the invasion. So in 1801, he invaded the Spanish territory like he said he was going to do anyway, taking it from the governor Don Garcia easily. Louverture brought the land under French law, abolishing slavery completely, and began a program to modernize the territory. He now controlled the entire island of Saint Montague, which, like I said in part one and part two, if you guys caught that, which is modern day Haiti. He had control over the entire island on July 7, 1881. He proclaimed the Constitution, which gave him power of the whole Hispaniola, which is essentially another island around Haiti in the West Indies area, and he pretty much had prominent control over that as well. However, he was not explicitly, declared an independent in Haiti. This constitution stated law included no slavery ever again, and all people were equal. However, he was not going to compromise on his Catholic religion and allow people to practice voodoo, and stated that being Catholic was the only religion allowed. It was now illegal to practice voodoo. So he sent a draft of the Constitution to Napoleon, and Napoleon rejected it. Eventually, Napoleon sent 20,000 men to reestablish French authority. The troops were under the command of his brother-in-law, Charles Emmanuel Leclerc. They attempted to establish authority by peaceful means, so they say, but Leclerc arrived and requested to land on his island, and he was attacked and crushed all hopes of a diplomatic solution between Napoleon's people and Louverture's people. So Louverture's plan was to burn everything and wait for the yellow fever to kick in. And it was working until his son was tricked by a false letter of diplomacy by the French, and they ended up taking over Santo Domingo. After the burning and violence, Leclerc promised he would not reinstate slavery, and on 6 May 1802, Louverture's top generals switched sides in return for keeping their ranks. They wanted to stay, you know what I'm saying, their generalship is what they call it. They wanted to keep their generalship. So Louverture eventually negotiated and accepted Leclerc's authority, and it ended all the hostilities. Soon after these negotiations took place, Louverture was soon arrested, and it was written that his successor, Jean Jacques, who we remember as being that brutal general, that lieutenant, um, or whatever, was partially responsible because Louverture failed to get a local rebel leader to lay down his arms and join them with their negotiations and their plans for peace. So Jean Jacques was ordered to arrest Louverture, but he couldn't do it. So what they did was they brought a gentleman by the name of Jean Baptiste Brunet. He tricked Louverture with a letter speaking on having a discussion, and he was arrested. Baptiste Brunet was so ashamed of his act because they were really good friends. He was so ashamed at his trickery, so he was not present at the time of Louverture's arrest. He soon died in prison from exhaustion, malnutrition, and other illnesses. I believe pneumonia was one of them, but he died in prison. Louverture's successor and friend ended up taking up the fight, leading the Haitian unit and using Louverture's tactics and his will, his everything to keep the troops motivated. You know what I mean? He used all that, and he was eventually victorious in 1803, forcing Napoleon to withdraw. I'm gonna say that one time, forcing Napoleon to withdraw. I bet y'all ain't heard that in y'all history books. So the story of Louverture was immense and controversial, and definitely worth sharing with you guys. Even though the father of Haiti was not present for the final victory over the French, his teachings and spirit led his people to victory over a more or less unbeatable general. I hope you guys really enjoyed these three parts of the Melanin Warrior, Father of Haiti, Toussaint Louverture. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment. Check me out on TikTok, Melanin underscore Lion, and I'll be posting video updates weekly or as much as possible. So with that, y'all, like every episode, y'all remember, either you're gonna stand for something or you're gonna fall for anything. It's your boy Casey Fowler, one half of the Fowlers Podcast, host of the Melanin Warriors Podcast. And we out.